Okay, so we're continuing on with this idea of graphing a system of inequalities. Show you a slightly different way that it's being done on DeltaMath, and then the plan is to show you next. Hey, why would you do this kind of thing anyway? So for right now, what we're looking at is just two inequalities, and when you graph a system or you solve a system, you're finding points that meet both criteria. So if you have some point, say 3, 2, it would only be a solution to this inequality if you can put 3 in for x and 2 in for y and have this statement be true, and then also put 3 in for x and 2 in for y in this statement and have it be true. So that's what we're doing here, and we're going to use this use a graphing approach on this. So let's take a look at this thing. When you look at this same problem, here it is in DeltaMath. It asked me, solve the following system of inequalities graphically on the set of axes below, state the coordinates of a point in the solution set. So what we're going to do first is graph both of these. So this one starts at 1 on the y-axis. Let me zoom in here. It starts right here at 1 on the y-axis, and then it has a slope of -1. Okay. Now, what I did here was I clicked on this thing, and then after I let go of the button, I can move this thing around to get the right slope. Well, a slope of -1 means down 1, right 1, so I'm going to put that right there. Okay. The next thing it's asking me to do is go, okay, look, do I need to change what type of line it is, and do I need to change the shading? So when you click change line, it changes from a dashed line to a solid line, dashed line, solid line. Well, this one up here says less than or equal to, and you may remember that if it says or equal to, it's like the equal to means it's like a line. Okay, so all the points that are on the line fit that. So we're going to leave it as a solid line here. Okay, and then the other question when it says change shade is which side do you want it on? Okay, well, this one does say that the y coordinates are supposed to be less than or equal to this whole thing over here. So one way to think of it is if it's supposed to be less than, then it better be below it. Another way you could think of it is this. If you put some point in there, I like to pick the point 0, 0. If you put some point in there, like 0 for x, 0 for y, if I put those coordinates in here, 0 for x and 0 for y, I get a statement that says 0 is less than or equal to 0 plus 1. Well, 0 is less than or equal to 0 plus 1, so this point is making the statement true, so I better be shading toward it. So I'm going to leave this one alone right now, and now I'm going to do the other one. Okay? It crosses at -7 down here. So I'm going to click right there at -7. Okay? Zoom in, make sure I got that right. Yep, -7. And then it's got a slope of 3/5, so it's going to go up 3 and right 5. Looks like that's it right there. Okay, make sure it's not negative. Okay, it's not. Good, good. And then what kind of line should it have? Well, it does say or equal to, so that tells me it needs to be a solid line, so I won't click change line or anything. But then I need to figure out the shading. Okay, which way does it shade? Okay, well, again, one way to think of it is since it says y is greater than, it better be above it. Okay, it doesn't always work that way. It kind of depends on how the inequality shows itself. But when it starts with y, then this is a pretty reliable method. The other way to think of it, again, is put 0 in for x and 0 in for y. Basically test this point here and see if I should be shading toward it. If I put 0 here and 0 there, I get the statement 0 is greater than or equal to 0 minus 7. Well, 0 minus 7 is -7. And 0 is indeed bigger than or equal to that. So this point's making it true, so I better make sure I'm shading there. Okay, so I've got the whole thing graphed correctly. The last thing I need to do is enter a point right down in here that fits both of these. Well, this area here that's kind of this darkish green color is the area where both of them are shaded. So I'll just pick any point I want inside this region. What the heck, I'll use 0, 0. So let me just type in 0 there and 0 there and submit my answer. Got it right. Okay, let's do a new problem. This one asks me to graph these two things, so I can tell if this one crosses at 4, so let me just click right there. And then it's got a slope of 1. Again, if there's no number in front of the x, think of there being a 1 there. So up 1, right 1. And then I've got to decide, do I need a solid line or dashed line? Well, it doesn't say or equal to, it's just less than. So I need a dashed line. So I'm going to leave that there. And then which way do I shade? Well, it says y is less than, so I'm going to shade below it. Okay, and then call that one good. For the second one, it's going to cross the y-axis at -2. So I'll come down here to -2. And then it's got a slope of -2. Well, that really means -2 over 1. So I'm going to go down 2 and right 1. So a rise of -2 and a run of 1. Click that. And then I've got to decide, do I need a solid line or dashed line? Well, it does say or equal to down here. So that tells me it needs a solid line. And then the shading, which way does it go? It does say y is less than. So I'm going to click that and make sure it's shaded below. Last thing I need to do is pick a point that's in the part that's double shaded. So anywhere in here that we want, I'm going to pick 0, -6, I think, right there. So 0, -6. And I'll submit my answer, see how it goes. Okay, we'll give that a shot, see how it goes, and then we'll go on later with, why would you actually use this skill anyway? All right, talk to you later.